Assalamualaikum and good day everyone. For PAD104, we will present the privatization policy. Our group consists of 3 members, that is Nur Ashura, Fala Sofia and Nur Amira Najihah.
Introduction of privatization. Privatization refers to the process of transferring ownership, control or management of government on assets or companies to the private sector in the country. It involves the sales, lease of transfer of public entities, service or infrastructure to individuals or private company. In 1983, Malaysia introduced the privatization policies led by Prime Minister Tun Mahathir Mohamad. The policy aimed to foster economic development, reduce government intervention, alleviate the financial burden, and empowerment market force in line with the National Development Policy. Privatization is based on the changing the government role in the economic development process. At the beginning, Malaysia independent on 1957, the government took very important role in management and ownership key sector on the economy, including industry, banking, natural resources, and infrastructure. Before the privatization policy was implemented in Malaysia, the national economy was based on an economic model that was more geared toward the public sector or the government. This policy was formulated as in the response to the following issue. Issue number 1 is economic and financial crisis. In the early 1980s, Malaysia experienced an economic crisis characterized by slow growth, high budget deficit, and increased debt. This situation resulted in significant fiscal pressure on the government, as well as limited funds for investment and economic development. Issue number 2 is bureaucratic efficiency and performance. The public administration system in Malaysia is considered inefficient, prone to corruption, and tends to be slow to make decisions. This affects the quality of public services and hinders economic growth. Issue number 3 is dependence on the public sector. At the time, the public sector in Malaysia played a dominant role in the economy. High dependence on the state-owned enterprise hinders innovation, efficiency, and economic competitiveness. The government recognized the need to diversify the economy by involving the private sector to promote more dynamic growth. And the last issue is foreign investment. Malaysia wants to attract foreign investment to develop new economic sector and increase global competitiveness. Government recognized that increased private participation can attract foreign direct investment and generate the technology, knowledge, and resources needed to sustainable economic growth.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Fala Sofia binti Ahmad Kamal. I will continue with the main objective of the policy. There are 5 objectives. The first one is relieving the financial and administrative burden of the government. Privatization transfers ownership and management of state-owned enterprises, SOEs, to the private sector, relieving the government financial burden. Transferring responsibility to the private sector frees up bureaucratic resources for the government, whereby it allows the government to focus on priority areas and core governance functions. The second objective is improving efficiency and increased productivity. Privatization fosters operational efficiency and productivity gains. Private companies bring expertise, innovation, and profit-driven motivation. Market competition in privatized sectors drives continuous improvement. Privatization enhances overall competitiveness and productivity. Next objective is facilitating economic growth. Privatization enhances economic growth by attracting private investment and promoting entrepreneurship. The Economic Planning Unit, EPU, recognizes privatization as a catalyst for sustained economic progress. The fourth objective is reducing the size and presence of the public sector in the economy. Privatization policies aim to decrease the size of public sector by transferring ownership to the state-owned enterprises of the private sector. Privatization allows the government to focus on core functions such as regulation and public welfare. Last but not least, the policy aims to assist in meeting the national development policy targets. Privatization supports the National Development Policy and the National Economic Plan. It offers opportunities to advance the objective of equitable distribution. Okay, now, who are the actors involved in the policy programs or activities? The first one is, of course, the government. The government is the key actor in Malaysia's privatization policy. The privatization section, previously known as Privatization Special Task Force, is established to support the implementation of the policy. It operates under the supervision of the Economic Planning Unit EPU in the Prime Minister's Department to serve the Secretariat to the Privatization Committee. Next is State-Owned Enterprises SOEs. SOEs play a significant role in Malaysia's privatization initiative. SOEs in industries like transportation, utilities, telecommunication, and healthcare are targeted for privatization. Privatizing SOEs allows for the adoption of private sector management practices and innovative technologies. This is because the government seeks to transform SOEs into sustainable entities that contribute to Malaysia's economy. Example of SOEs in Malaysia such as Petronas and also Tenaga Nasional Berhad TNB. Lastly, the private sector. The private sector in Malaysia plays a crucial role in privatization programs by bringing in capital, expertise, and market-driven approaches. Private companies contribute to the efficiency and performance of formerly state-owned entities through investment in modernization and technology upgrades. Khazanah Nasional Berhad, as a prominent policy actor, is the sovereign wealth fund of Malaysia and manages the privatization process. The involvement of the private sector, including companies, investors, and entrepreneurs, is essential for the success of privatization initiative in Malaysia. Now let us see the implementation strategy of the policy. The government releases periodic statements to inform the public about the privatization policy and ensure the public awareness and understanding. The Malaysian Privatization Master Plan, PMP, was introduced in 1991 along with the privatization guidelines to guide the implementation of the policy and provide a roadmap for future developments. The privatization guideline offers detailed information on the policy subject, methods, and implementation process. The government has made significant changes to facilitate privatization, including amending laws and conducting a study to develop a comprehensive privatization master plan. These developments aim to improve the efficiency and effectiveness of the privatization program in Malaysia. Privatization in Malaysia can be implemented through various methods including sales, lease, management contracts, and different types of build-operate arrangements. Sales involve transferring ownership and control of state-owned enterprises SOEs to private entities. Lease arrangements involve the temporary transfer of assets to private operators. Management contracts enable the government to outsource the operation of SOEs to private companies. Build-operate models such as build-own-transfer BOT, build-own-operate BOO, and also build-transfer-own BTO involve private sector participation in construction, financing, and operation of infrastructure or facilities. Land development and land exchange can be used to leverage government-owned land for private sector development. The various methods of privatization in Malaysia provide options for the government to engage the private sector and optimize the benefits of privatization. The choice of method depends on factors such as the nature of assets, a desired level of private sector involvement, financing consideration, and long-term strategic goals. Implementing a mix of these methods allows the government to enhance efficiency, attract private investment, and improve service delivery in sectors such as transportation, utilities, and healthcare.
Privatization has made various positive impacts on efficiency, productivity, and competition in various sectors of the economy. When evaluating government policies, using a SWOT analysis helps us to understand their strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Privatization involves transferring activities and functions from the government to the private sector. This brings the expertise of companies, leading to innovative ideas, better management practices, and technological advancements. Ultimately, the result in improving performance, governance, and optimal utilization of resources. Weaknesses of privatization policy. Unfortunately, privatization process outcomes become marred by corruption and favoritism. In this situation, public assets are sold at prices that don't reflect their true value. Not only does this raise fairness concerns, but it also has far-reaching consequences for the economy, society, and the well-being of affected individuals. Opportunities of privatization policy. One of the main advantages of privatization is that increased efficiency in service delivery. Private companies driven by market competition and profit strive to optimize their operations and provide better services to attract and retain customers. By focusing on customer satisfaction and meeting their demands, they are enhancing service quality and drive overall their improvements. Privatization can also attract private investment, and capital, which can be infused into infrastructure development and maintenance. There are also threats potential associated with organizations, especially in essential sectors like healthcare. When these sectors are privatized, the government's control and oversight are diminished. So this can create challenges during emergencies, because the government may struggle to coordinate resources or implement necessary measures to protect public health. Furthermore, without government control, there's a risk that certain areas or services that don't generate substantial profits may be neglected, such as mental health services or marginalized groups. Recommendations of privatization policy. It promotes transparency in the privatization throughout the process. So it considers management contracts for expertise and fee-based management, like the one that privatization of the management water treatment at Smedap. So privatization aims to improve efficiency, service quality, and public welfare. These are including the accountability and continuous improvement.
In conclusion, these presentations discuss the rationale behind privatization in Malaysia, focusing on efficiency as a driver for welfare maximization. However, government involvement in business has grown, presenting challenges related to the transparency, governance, and equitable distribution of benefits. To overcome this challenge, continuous monitoring, evaluation, and improvement of the privatization process is necessary. Establishing appropriate institutional mechanisms that emphasize efficiency, transparency, and good government is essential to curb cronyism. Information gaps and disorganized implementation have resulted in lost revenue streams. To achieve maximum welfare maximization, measures must strike a balance between encouraging private sector growth and ensuring equitable distribution of the benefit of privatization. By addressing the challenge and capitalizing on the opportunity, Malaysia can drive economic growth, create employment opportunity, and improve the overall well-being of its people. Thank you.